Well, it's raining again. We have been trying to get down to the boat and get some stuff done. Nothing major. There's a couple of projects we want to work on. There's a couple of projects we need to work on that we don't necessarily want to, or let's just say we're not super enthusiastic about them. So one of them is the head. I think the macerator pump, the macerator is not working, and so we need to address that, and I need to inspect the black water lines and just make sure there's no leaks from those black water lines going into the bilge, because that's not nice. And then the other one is there's a sump pump for the shower, because that's, for those of you who've seen the inside of the boat, and it's a wet head. So the shower has a central drain, or the floor of the head has a central drain on it. So everything drains down into there, and then the sump pump is just in front of the steps in the salon. And it's in a box. I don't believe it works, but I haven't really tested every aspect of it. And again, there are some things that might not be labeled correctly, so I do need to kind of get into that and see what's going on. Jenny is in the middle of doing her hair, and if you've seen any of the other videos, you know that's a process, right? There's a lot of it. So I asked her if she wanted to shoot intros or outros or any video with me, and she's like, not right now. Kind of busy. So I'm kind of stuck doing this myself for the moment. And the other thing is, I'm trying to find a way to get entertaining content, because when I look at the metrics on YouTube, it's kind of interesting, really. And maybe that's what this is about to be, is a little discussion, just a 10-minute discussion about YouTube and channels. So we know when we look at things, what was I watching? Sailing Doodles. So Bobby on Sailing Doodles, funnily enough, just did a live, and whether you know, how much you like his channel and the format of girls in bikinis on boats, draws in a lot of viewers, obviously for him, he's doing well with that. But the part that really interests me is when he does a live, or when he does not live, what am I trying to think of? It's Sailing Doodle, I don't know what it is. He sits down by himself in the salon of his boat or wherever he is, and he just answers questions from viewers. And it was interesting on this last one. He's talked a number of different times about YouTube, about where his money comes from, because he does get that question over and over again. And I watch them all because I'm interested in how he conducts business. Our format is never going to be like his format for actual videos. You know, we're not going to have a sailboat full of girls in bikinis. Sorry. You know, there's one woman in a bikini, and that's my wife. And that's not always going to be the case. That's not the focus of it. I feel like I understand what draws attention, and it's not my, pudgy white face. But at the same time, we're not doing this to make a living. We don't have to appeal to the lowest common denominator. We're making videos because we want to. Having said that, yes, we have a Patreon. It's super great if people go on there and support us. So, we definitely appreciate that, especially given how much it costs to, really just to own the boat when you look at dockage. And I'm pretty transparent. I think I may have even mentioned it before. We pay about $400 a month in dockage in an area where we would normally pay about $700. And that's because our boat is on a federal property. I'm a retired soldier. As a privilege, I can keep my boat in a government-owned marina. So that saves me about, 35-40% per month compared to the standard rates off base. That's great. We do pay a diver because I'm not getting in that water. Not on the river side. If we were out on the ocean side, I'd get in the water with no problem. That river water, we get so many warnings.
In Brevard County, the phone calls haven't stopped after thousands of dead fish started washing up near restaurants, causeways, and beaches. State wildlife officials believe an algae bloom is what's caused a massive fish kill in the Banana and Indian rivers.
About like, hey, don't eat the fish because we had a lot of rain and everybody's septic system, you know, inadvertently flows into the Indian River. And it destroys everything. It's disgusting. But anyway, so I don't get in that water. I pay for a diver. That's about 100 plus taxes, blah, 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 comes out to about 120 a month. So dockage plus the diver, you're at $520 a month. Insurance is roughly $1,200 for the year. So if you break that down annually, it's 100. So now you're at $620 a month. So just owning the boat is $620 a month. That's not to use it. That's not to make any changes to it. So what is that? That's $7,500 a year, somewhere around there. Never do public math. Then on top of that, everything that we do to the boat costs money, obviously. I mean, if we scrub the boat down, that doesn't cost us any money. But as you would have seen in one of the previous videos, we had, I keep calling them Melbourne Marine. I think I got to get you the better information on that. If you look up Melbourne Marine, you will find them because Melbourne, Florida is this area. But I think it's actually Reliant Diesel is their official name. And then if you look at the video where we had them out on the boat, I did show a picture of their truck with their contact information. But I'll put it in the notes on this video if I remember. Because they're awesome. They did a phenomenal job. Now, having said that, they're not cheap, but they're the kind of company that says, oh, you have cats, we use cat products on cats. You have Yanmars? Ooh, I don't know if you saw the reflection of that lightning. that surprised me. You have Yanmars, we use Yanmar oil filters and Yanmar oil. So they do everything per factory spec, and you get great quality stuff. And yes, you pay for it, but I don't necessarily think that cheaping out on your mains is a good idea. And again, if you're doing your own oil changes and you know what you're doing and you buy the product that works for you, I have no criticism of that whatsoever. But my feeling is that in terms of cost of ownership and boat maintenance, the difference between the Yanmar oil and the exact same spec oil, which would definitely work, is pretty minor compared to all the other costs involved in owning the boat. So I don't really mind that, you know, they say, hey, we are going to use Yanmar products on your Yanmar engines. So I think I told you the number. We spent, I want to say it was like $3,500 on the annual service for the two engines. So there were that was fuel filters, oil filters. It was like $400 worth of oil. It was belts, you know, going around the alternators. So, and it was I would say it was basically an entire day of labor for that guy, because I met him down there fairly early in the morning, and he did not leave until late afternoon to do those two engines, to do a full service on those two engines. And then if you watch the last video, you may have noticed that I mentioned the primers on both engines need replacing. The quote for that, ooh, that was some good lightning. The quote for that was another roughly $3,000. And again, I've had some people say, hey, you know, you could just take those off and replace the O-rings on them, give them a good cleaning, and they'd be good to go. And that's probably true. That's probably true. But given the amount of travel that we are hoping to do starting soon, the distances covered, and the fact that where we go, everything is going to be more expensive, i.e. anywhere in the Caribbean, it makes a lot of sense for us to do the work now, to be willing to pay for top quality work and OEM parts and equipment to ensure that we're starting with the absolute best case scenario. And again, no guarantees on anything. Who did I just watch the other day? Oh God, who was it? Trying Not to Sink? The couple, and their names are escaping me. But they brought their boat down to Florida. They started to make that crossing over to the Bahamas, and one of the engines went tits up, and they came back, and it was like, hey, engine overheated. And they're Detroit's. So they had an engine overheat situation. So fortunately, it was just one engine. It ended their trip, but it didn't leave them stranded. That's lucky. That's very lucky. It could have been a much worse situation for them. And these are people, this guy's taking care of his engines on a regular basis. He's watching his gauges. He's monitoring temperature all the time. And as he said, he doesn't know what happened. It looks like an overheating situation. Maybe a plastic bag just got sucked up into the raw water intake on that one engine and completely closed it off, starved the engine of raw water, and the heat goes up pretty darn quickly when that happens. So that could have been the case. So you can't plan for that, but you can definitely prepare and make sure that everything is as good as you can afford to make it before you start doing something. So that's what we're doing, and that's why something like Patreon is very helpful, because YouTube is interesting. It's tricky. Wow, that was bright. YouTube is a great platform. We would not be able to share this journey with other people without YouTube. That's loud. I don't know if that's it. I don't know if the microphone picks that up or not. That's a good thunderstorm. So YouTube is wonderful, and we're very happy to be able to use YouTube to record what we're doing with the boat, to share with people a little portion of our lives, for lack of a better word. I can use it to show off old shirts from when I was in the Army. Every now and then somebody's going to say, I know that battalion. Maybe I shouldn't be out here. What do you think? If I said put in the comments whether or not I should be out here and then I end up getting killed by lightning, I hope that goes viral. No, I'm just kidding. So, looking at YouTube as a platform, I will tell you a couple of things that I've learned. We have an effort. It takes an effort to garner an audience, right? To get together people who want to watch your videos. And, and when I make a video like this, it's not going to be popular, right? I sort of already know that. To monetize in YouTube, you have to do certain things. You can't do anything until you've put up your first 3 videos. So that's the first barrier. The second one is watch hours, right? They don't necessarily care how many likes you have. They do care about subscribers, so getting to 1,000 was a big deal. But getting to... That one was really close. But getting to 3,000 watch hours. Now, if you're putting out 10-minute videos or 20-minute videos, you might think, oh yeah, this isn't going to be that hard. I've already got 1,000 subscribers. Well, we have, I think, 1,400 subscribers at the moment. Our subscribers do not watch our videos from beginning to end. That's natural. I subscribe to channels, and sometimes I don't watch their videos from beginning to end either. That's just the nature of it. But the other aspect of that is that YouTube will advertise for you. You can pay YouTube for advertising. And that seemed like a good route to go for us. We were willing to do that to try and get to 1,000 subscribers, to try and get our content out there, because otherwise it just gets buried under millions of other videos, and there's no way anybody's going to find it. So we did a little bit of advertising. YouTube advertising is good quality advertising, I will say that. You don't get huge numbers, but the people they put it in front of are definitely your target market. So that's good. But the watch hours you get from YouTube advertising do not count towards your monetization. So, you know, we'd look at something, we'd advertise a video, we'd get a couple hundred hours. That was loud. We'd get a couple hundred watch hours, and then we'd go look at our monetization page to see how close we were getting, and it would say, you have 4 watch hours, 4 qualifying watch hours. And super small numbers, right? And unfortunately, most of the watch hours that qualify are not coming from people who are actually sitting down watching the video. A lot of them are for people who are just getting the preview, and we can see that in the metrics, because you can see, you know, 90 people watched the video immediately for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. That's just a preview, you know, and it tells you, it's indicative of the importance of the thumbnail and the first 5 to 10 seconds of your video. You better capture somebody's attention, because if you don't, they're gone. And even if you slightly capture their attention, they might watch 30 seconds. But it takes a lot of 30-second looks to get to 3,000 watch hours. I mean, it's just not happening. I watched a video the other day because it was Mr. Beast. And if you're going to do this, you may as well look at people who are successful and kind of analyze what they're doing. And I realize we're never going to duplicate anything like that. And I don't just mean in numbers. I just mean the format is not what we do. But I watched an entire video. I mean, I watched 30 minutes continuously, uninterrupted, of a Mr. Beast video. And the video had only been out for a little while, and like 7.5 million people had already seen it. So that's a whole different ballgame, you know. But as Bobby said on Sailing Doodles, he used to do 20-minute videos. Now he'll do like a 10 to 15-minute video, because people only... I wish I had that on camera. That was a pretty cool lightning bolt. People are only watching... I really shouldn't be out here. People are only watching a few minutes of the video, right? So if people are watching 30% of a video... Well, let me not use percentages, because that's going to change by watch time. If they watch 30%, it doesn't matter how long the video is, in one sense. If that's the case, make the video 1,000 hours long, you know. But he was doing 20-minute videos, and people were watching 3 minutes, and then they were stopping. He goes to 10-minute videos, people are watching 3 minutes, and then they're stopping. Well, if you're only getting 3 minutes of watch time out of a video, don't make it an hour long, you know. Now, I will say, some people have just great production, and I love it, and, you know, I'll watch it. And I will watch... I have watched... what's his name? I haven't seen one of the... In Too Deep, right? So, In Too Deep will put out 2-hour-long videos. That is a feature-length movie. In time, right? 2-hour video on YouTube. That's a massive video. And yet, I watch them from beginning to end. A couple of my friends, you know, especially my friend Travis, who's boat captain, also lives on a boat. He'll watch one of that dude's videos from beginning to end on the TV like it's a movie. And good for that guy, right? You know, to produce a 2-hour video takes a heck of a lot of effort. And I'm not there yet. What's funny is I just noticed the clock on this. I've been talking for 19 minutes already. That's terrible. We're going to have to cut this down. It's going to get published. It's probably going to be, this is going to be a one-take video, right? But I wanted to explain a little bit about the metrics. I wanted to have something to put out. The goal was to put a video out every Wednesday morning, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I'm doing it. I don't know if that's the right decision. You know, if the choice is between putting out a video like this where it's just me talking and none of you are going to watch it, should I do that? Is that really the right thing to do? But my feeling is stick to the schedule, put one out every week. This is just me sharing some thoughts. I don't have the following that, you know, Bobby has or even the 71%. I mean, they've picked up a huge following recently, which is fantastic. And when they do a live and things like that, they get a lot of interaction, which is good. I'm not going to get a lot of interaction off of this video, but my feeling is that putting a video out same time every week and establishing that schedule is the right thing to do. And with that, I'll turn this around while I do my closing comments, just in case we get a good lightning strike while I'm doing this. The lightning is absolutely going crazy out there today. And of course, now that I've turned it around, we probably won't get anything. But we'll see. But anyway, I will try and find a way to put the Patreon stuff on a screen for this video so you all can see it. It is in the description. So if you click on the channel link, you'll see there's a link to our webpage, which at the moment is just a picture of the boat. Or a drawing of the boat that somebody did for us, and then the Patreon. And if you tell me what you want in Patreon, you tell me what benefit you would like to receive there, I will try and do that, because I want to offer viewers what they're demanding. You know, I'm happy to do it, I just don't know what the viewers want. And we have a relatively small group of viewers at the moment, so you know, if you speak up now, you will probably get what you want, because you may be the only person who speaks up. If you're the only one who answers the question, then, you know, you probably get what you want. So anyway, thank you everybody who's watching. If anybody watches this one, I'll be a little bit surprised, but if you did, thank you very much. Woo! That was some good lightning. And we are going to get down to the boat this week, try and shoot some more content. We may try and shoot some content in like West Marine, and there's a chandlery down the road about an hour south of us that is absolutely massive. So we may try and go down there and shoot some content as we just look through some boat parts and do boat stuff. So thank you all, and I hope you're having a wonderful, not rainy, not lightning-filled afternoon.